Apologies, I'm a little bit late. But of course, there's always some sort of technical difficulties when you are trying to go online. But I apologize and I will try my best not to let this happen again. So, if you are joining me, thank you so much. I'm very, very excited to talk to you guys today about how investing in public speaking makes you better at interviews. So if you are watching live, please let me know in the chat box. And I just want to make sure everything is working correctly. I'm going to pull it up on my phone to make sure we are able to see everything. So I do see lots of you online, which is awesome. And I'm very excited. What a milestone, you guys. I have hit 100,000 subscribers or followers on LinkedIn. What? I'm still in shock and I just cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. And I don't know if you guys know, but I got balloons to kind of celebrate. If you can see right here, my 100K balloons. So I'm just have them sitting here and I'm just like, oh, I'm never going to let these go. Like, you guys, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what to say. I am so happy. And I just want to say thank you so much to each and every single one of you for the love, the support, the comments, and all of that. I'm like I said, it's hard for me to even say how happy I am. And I'm also very proud that we've built this community of introverts here who are people that need to learn how to speak up because introverts have such an amazing they're brilliant. Like they're just brilliant people because they're quiet and they're always observing, they're listening, they're learning. And because of that, they have so many great ideas, so many thoughts. And I want to be able to help you introverts bring out those thoughts and ideas because I was somebody like that for so long. And I knew that things had to change. And I had to kind of overcome my fear, especially of public speaking, to be able to present better and speak more with people. So, congratulations, first of all, to everybody, because this is a community of introverts that are ready to make a change, ready to speak up. And I am very, very excited to be part of that community and bringing you value that is going to help you, especially in the workforce. So, I know I'm rambling, but let me get back on topic. So we're going to be talking about how investing in public speaking makes you better at interviews. And this is a topic that I really want to talk to you guys about. I haven't prepared anything because I want this to be more like a conversation. It's going to be more a conversation style. And hold on, let me see if I can put my balloons. You guys can see them here. Sorry, I'm a little obsessed with them. I'm so happy. But the reason why I want to talk to you guys about this is because I have so many clients that I work with, and one of their biggest issues is interviewing. And I want to talk to you about why, first of all, public speaking has evolved so much. Public speaking is no longer just you being in front of 2,000 people, right? It's evolved. This live is a form of public speaking because anytime you're in front of an audience, key term, audience, anytime you're in front of an audience, you are public speaking. Okay, so that means interviews. If you have panels, right? You could have a panel of people. That's an audience. It could even just be, let's say, a networking event, right? You have to know how to speak. And of course, presentations, all of these things. Okay, and I want to talk to you about why it's so important to be able to speak publicly. Okay, especially during interviews. But before, I want to tell you a little bit about my own experience because this is when it really clicked in my head, like, oh, wait, this makes sense. So I used to interview a lot because I wanted to freshen up my skills. I wanted to make sure that I'm just getting better and better. So when I was in the workforce, my first interviews were terrible, but I kind of just kept interviewing to see, okay, how can I get better? And I'm a big advocate for practice makes perfect, right? So a huge difference. So when I finally found a job that I really, really wanted, that I knew would be so hard. I know Caesar's in the back. He's well behaved right now. I can't promise how long that's going to last because he's being a little bit weird right now. So going back to topic, When I started interviewing and I knew that there was going to be one day a job that I want so badly and I need to be ready. And that's exactly what happened. When I moved to the United States, I was living in San Jose and I've always wanted to work for a university. And to my surprise, okay, Stanford University was just half an hour away from where I lived. And that's when I knew, okay, I have to apply. And by the way, I came from an insurance background, so I didn't even have any experience in working for universities or anything like that. But I decided, let's do it. Let's apply for this job. So when I went on to Indeed, there were over 100,000 applicants for that job. 100,000. That is a lot, right? That's a lot of people. And I was like, you know what? Just apply. What's the worst case? Just apply. I found a job, an entry level position that I wanted. And I was like, just apply because you never know what can come out of it, right? Never miss out on any opportunities. If you want something, just do it and see what happens, right? That's exactly what I did. I went ahead and I applied and I waited a few days. To my surprise, I got a email saying, "Hey, we'd like to call you in for a second round or phone interview." I did my phone interview and then I did the actual interview and then they called me back one more time for an interview. I think it was down from 100,000 applicants to maybe 10 and then down to just 3 people in the end. So I got the job, okay? And I was like, oh, wow, okay, it's a huge deal. 100,000 applicants down to one person. That's huge, right? So I talked to my boss after and I was like, can you tell me why was it that you guys hired me? Because I was very curious. I didn't have anything special on my resume, nothing special. It was a very generic resume, nothing crazy. I hadn't accomplished anything insane, right? And I was like, why did you hire me? I don't understand. And you know what she said to me? She said to me, Maria, you were just so confident in yourself in the way that you were speaking. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's the reason. Okay. So that's the reason why I got this job. And she's like, yeah. She's like, we can always train people on everything. We weren't worried about that. But we wanted to make sure we were bringing on someone that had good communication skills, right? Because remember, communication skills are very important in all aspects of your life. So I started the job. It went great. I got promoted, I think 8 months later. Great experience at Stanford. Now, what is the takeaway from this? When it comes to interviews, you are constantly selling, right? And you're selling all the time. You're selling all day, every day at your job. You're either selling an idea, you could be selling a skill set. For interviews, you're selling your skill sets. You're telling them, hey, these are the things that I'm good at, and this is why you should hire me. That is selling, right? And then you could even be selling during presentations. You could be selling an idea. You're constantly selling something. Okay, you're constantly selling something. And that is why being able to speak, to be able to articulate your thoughts, because I know you have lots of great ideas in here, but the difficulty comes when you're trying to convey those thoughts and ideas. So we are constantly selling, point number 1. And point number 2 is being able to articulate your thoughts better will ensure that you come off so much more confident. Okay. I had done lots of training in public speaking. I was petrified of it, which is why I told myself, I was like, you know what? I need to get better. I need to get better. And I didn't even realize that it was helping me in so many other parts of my life, including getting the jobs that I wanted. Okay. And I know I said this is a conversation style live and I've been rambling for a little bit, but do let me know what you think. First of all, I want to know, how are you guys at interviews? Do you like giving interviews? If you do, say yes. And if you don't like giving interviews, tell me why. Why do you not like giving interviews? If you like giving interviews, why do you like giving interviews? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are because I always hear one or the other. Either, oh my God, I love interviews, they're so much fun, or I absolutely hate them. It's never in between where people are like, yeah, I can do interviews, I'll be fine. So tell me in the chat box, you guys, do you like giving interviews? If so, what do you like about them? And if you don't, then what do you not like about them? Because while I'm waiting for you guys to respond, for me, the reason why I didn't like giving interviews is because I was just so bad at selling. selling is, it's not fun, right? If someone told me, hey, sell me this pen, I would be like, uh, uh, uh. That was back then. Obviously, I've gotten lots of training, gotten much better at it. But let me see what you guys are saying. So I have Serge here saying, yes, I like giving interviews. Serge, tell us why. Why do you like giving interviews? Someone saying, Kersha is saying, I'm in the middle. Amitav is saying, yes, I like, but sometimes I fall short of words. Noah saying, yes. Supti is saying, it depends on how prepared I am for the interview. Yes. Now, here's the thing about preparation, right? You could be so prepared, and I want to link this back to public speaking. You could be so prepared for a presentation. You could be so prepared for an interview. You could be on your game, and then you show up, okay? When you're in front of an audience, your nerves go crazy. They take over. And because of that, you absolutely forget everything, right? Your mind, it's like, oh my God, it's almost like information overload, too much stress. I can't, you're taking in all this information. And no matter how prepared you are, if you're scared, that fear is going to take over. And it's going to be that much harder for you to give your presentation, your interview, or whatnot. Especially if it's something important to you. What if this was a job you really, really wanted? And the more you want something, the more nervous you are because it means something to you. So someone here says, I tend to go blank. So May, you tend to go blank. And let me tell you why. The most likely reason why you are going blank is because it's too much pressure. That means too much of outside noise. And when you have too much outside noise, it's very hard to stay centered and it's very hard to speak and think about what you have to say, right? That's why you're going blank. So you could be extremely prepared and still go blank. It's very, very common. I've seen it all the time. It's happened to me a million times. So when someone is asking, Carl, how do you calm yourself once you feel the nerves creep up? So Carl, I talk a lot about nerves, right? A lot about nerves because nerves play a huge role when it comes to public speaking. And of course they would, right? Like I said, if you're nervous about something, it means that you actually care about it. So if that job interview that you're going into, if you are nervous, that means you really, really want this job. So when you're in the interview, you get nervous. Now you have all these people questioning you, asking you stuff. Yeah, it's not easy. I have lots of exercises, Carl. If you go back, I think I did an entire live just on overcoming your nerves. Do watch that. I think it will really, really help you. But let's talk a little bit more about the public speaking aspect of it, okay? When you are doing an interview, if you're lucky, you just get to interview with one person over the phone, one person face to face, much easier. But what happens when you have 2-3 people interviewing you? What happens when you have 2-3 people interviewing you back to back? That's a different ball game, right? Much harder, a lot more stress, a lot more work that needs to be done on your part. So I want to give you guys a few tips, first of all, for these, right? A few things that have really, really helped me. And this is all going to tie back onto why you need to get better at public speaking in order to do well at interviews. So some of the tips that I have for you. The first thing is when you're in an interview, you do not want it to be so formal, okay? And I know what you're thinking. You're like, but it's an interview. It has to be formal. I know what you're thinking. But you want to make this interview more like a conversation. It should not be them asking a question, you answering the question, them asking a question, you answering the question, back and forth, back and forth. It should not be like that, right? It should be them asking you a question, you're answering the question, and then you're maybe asking them a few follow-up questions and commenting on them, and then it's going back and forth. That type of exchange is what you need to look for during an interview, because at the end of the day, no matter how qualified you are, no matter how qualified you are not, companies know that they can train you, right? If they've brought you in for the interview, they already think you're a good fit, okay? But now the last step is really for them to get to know you and make sure that you are someone that they're going to be able to fit into the team, fit into the company, you share similar core values as the company, all that stuff, right? So this is your chance to now show them who you really are. And I don't mean who you are on paper. right? Okay, yes, I know you have all these accomplishments, which is amazing, but this is your chance to show them who you are as a person, because that is what's going to get you hired at the end of the day, not your long list of qualifications, which are important, but they are not everything. The last step is always being able to articulate your thoughts, being able to speak. You need to be able to do that to tell people what's going on in here, right? And that's why it's so important to invest in public speaking to make you better at interviews. Let me give you guys an example. So I had a client recently, and part of my program, what I do is I offer one section where if you have an interview coming up, we work just on your interview. So one of my clients, she came to me because she wanted to apply for an MBA and she was ready to do the interview process. So we worked on the interviews. And the first thing that I noticed with her, right, again, it was so technical. It was all about, I can do this, I do that, right? And that's a very common mistake during interviews. You always think that it's an I thing, right? It's not. You have to remember your employer wants to know what's in it for them as well. And this is something I always teach my clients. When you're in front of your audience, always ask yourself, what's in it for them, right? Why should they listen to you? And it's your job as the person speaking to let them know why they should listen to you and why they should hire you and not somebody else, right? So going back to that example, we did the interview. She did the interviews. It went really well. Gotten great feedback from her saying she's very, very happy with how it went. But because she was so technical, the one thing that we changed was I tried to make her more comfortable, right? You have to be comfortable in your skin. You have to be comfortable in yourself, and you have to be confident in your abilities. And you have to be able to convey that when you're doing the interview. Okay. Because if you can't, how are people going to know what you're thinking? I know you have great ideas in your mind, and most of us do. We have great ideas. We're overly qualified sometimes for some of the jobs that we apply for. But if you can't convey that message, if you can't get it out there and you can't explain why this is important, then there's no point. There's no point. And that's why it's very, very important for you to get better at public speaking in order to do well at interviews. Now, if you get better at public speaking, not only will it help you in that actual interview, but it will help you once you get the job to do presentations, when you're networking, when you're having those discussions with your boss, because words are very important. Okay. Every word that you say and every time that you're speaking, this is one of my favorite quotes. Every time that you speak, you are auditioning for leadership. It's by James Humes. I'm going to repeat that. Every time that you speak, you are auditioning for leadership. That means every time you are speaking, someone is listening and evaluating you, right? In the workplace. I know that kind of sucks. It's hard, but that means you always have to be on your A game during meetings, during presentations, during networking events. You always need to make sure and remember that anything that I say can possibly help me get that promotion. It can possibly get me in front of the right people, right? Very, very important. So let me take it back to you guys a little bit right now. Tell me some of your experiences when it comes to public speaking. What was something that went really well and what was something that didn't go so well for you, right? I want to know because I've had my fair share of bad interviews that I've learned from, right? And by the way, if you are interested in knowing the 3 steps to overcome and get promoted, to overcome your fear and get promoted faster in the workplace, I am hosting a masterclass this next week, actually. So if you are interested in learning about that, it's a 1-hour masterclass where I'm going over each step and what exactly you need to do to get promoted faster just by speaking different. Then do join me on the next masterclass. All you have to do is go to www.speakatwork.com. Okay, www.speakatwork.com. Oh no, Caesar's there. Luckily, he's tired. Caesar, you want to say hi to everyone? Say hi. So So again, like I was saying, speakatwork.com. It's going to be a whole masterclass on how you can get promoted faster just by speaking different. So do join me then. But let me know some of the questions that you guys have. I wanted this today to really just be us talking. I didn't prepare anything. And honestly, I just really wanted to celebrate the 100K with you guys as well. So I wasn't expecting them to be this big. These are huge, these balloons. I wasn't expecting them to be this big. But tell me about your experiences with with interviews. How do you guys typically do? How is it? Do you guys enjoy it? If you couldn't attend the masterclass, no worries. Come on to the next one. I'm hosting one next Saturday. And I know you guys, I haven't not been able to get through my messages. I have, I think, over 5,000 messages and I have over 20,000 connection requests. I need some time to get through it. I don't even know like how to get through it because obviously like I'm working with my clients throughout the day and then by nighttime I'm so tired, but I'm going to get to your messages. If you have messaged me, please give me some time. But if you are asking about my program, first step is join the masterclass. I want you to see how I teach. I want you to get a good feel of what you're going to learn, and then I can tell you about the program after, okay? So do join the masterclass. So let me see what some of you guys are saying. Bob, okay, so Bob is saying, I had a brief, a very hostile audience, but a very technical recommendation I was making. I was nervous, but learned afterwards that it went well, and my solution was, let me scroll back up. My solution was accepted. I was confident when I presented, and no one in the audience had the technical expertise I had. They had to trust in my knowledge. Okay, that's great. So I want to know, Bob, why was it such a hostile audience? How did you know they were hostile? What were they doing? Because these are cues that we need to pick up on. You have to be able to read your audience. And again, when I say audience, it could be one person, two persons, or 10,000 people. You have to be able to read your audience. So Bob, that's a great example. Can you tell us, how did you know that your audience was being hostile or they are hostile? Let us know because cues are very important to pick up. Let me see what else we have here. So I have a LinkedIn user saying, after 10 years of working, I had to interview for another job. I stayed calm, talked normally, and wrote my questions on a card. That helped. It went well, and just be honest with yourself and it will go well. Okay. Amazing. So what I like about this here is that the calm part that you're talking about, right? You have to be extremely calm during interviews. And I know you get excited sometimes, and let that excitement show. It's okay to show that excitement, but for the most part, you do have to be calm, collected, and centered to make sure that your thoughts can be conveyed properly, right? When you get excited, when you get angry, when your emotions take over, it's very hard to speak then and say what you need to say. Do you guys ever had that experience where you get into an argument with someone and then you're just so mad that you can't say what you want to say, and then later when you're feeling a little bit better and not so angry anymore, you realize, oh my God, I could have said this and I should have said that, and that would have been such a great comeback, right? Same idea. When you're upset, when you're angry, your emotions take over, and then that means your mind is not thinking as clearly anymore. Let me see what some of you guys are saying. I go in prepared but freeze when the nerves take over. Ranjani, yes. Nerves, huge part of public speaking, which is why it's extremely important to calm your nerves before you get into a presentation or before you speak in front of an audience. A couple of quick tips that I have for you if you want to calm your nerves. Arrive early, right? So studies show us that after 10 minutes, our nerves settle. I'm feeling a lot better now, and we're almost 24 minutes in. So your nerves right in the beginning, before you get up in front of your audience, no matter how many times you have done this, your nerves will always be crazy. So arrive early, right? Start those 10 minutes early. If we know that 10 minutes, our nerves are going to settle, start those 10 minutes early. Arrive early, speak to people early. When you come, introduce yourself to some people. Even if you're in an interview, I would arrive half an hour early for an interview. One like maybe 10 minutes to just figure out where you need to go. And then another 10 minutes to just sit there and let your body absorb where you are and get used to where you are, right? Most of the times when we're presenting, it's somewhere we haven't presented before. So your body needs to get comfortable with that surrounding, because your brain, it's such a powerful tool. It's constantly taking in information. It's constantly taking in things. So if you arrive early, you do that during those 10 minutes. You let your brain observe and take in everything. So then when you're speaking, you're not distracted anymore by maybe a flickering light or by a balloon right here or whatever, right? You won't be as distracted anymore. So arrive extra early. Never try to show up on time. Come extra early. Noah is saying, I enjoy public speaking when it is about what I'm good at. Okay, because I love educating people and creating a more historically literate public. The past is important to understand the present. I like that, Noah. I like what you're saying here. And I'm glad that you enjoy public speaking, because you should not be so overwhelmed and so fearful of it. It's no fun then. Public speaking can be fun. You can enjoy it. And let me tell you something. If you are not enjoying that presentation, neither is your audience. You have to enjoy the presentation for your audience to enjoy it, because your audience is picking up on your energy. Your audience is picking up on your tone. Your audience can see your body language and they can tell when you don't want to be there. So if you don't want to be there, they won't want to be there, right? Which is why it's important to enjoy the presentations. And I know you're thinking, okay, Maria, easier said than done. How am I supposed to enjoy a presentation when I am petrified of speaking? And because of that, I have a full masterclass for you guys coming up next Saturday. So do join me on that, because I'm going to go over step by step on what you need to say, how you need to say it, especially if it's impromptu speaking. So do join me for that, because I'm going to go over everything in much more detail. You can sign up by going to speakatwork.com, or you can go to my profile and you will see a link right at the bottom. It says sign up for masterclass. Okay. Let me look at a few more messages here. Suthi says, I think it's important to feel comfortable in an interview personally. If I'm prepared, then I feel a bit confident. That allows me to actively listen to interviewers and focus on their responses rather than on my own nerves. That is great, Suthi, right? Listening is just as important as speaking. And many of you might think, hey, I'm the speaker, all eyes on me, so I have to constantly talk and entertain people and make sure I'm not quiet, because it's going to disrupt the flow. But you also need to stop, take your time, pause, and allow your audience to speak as well. Because this isn't just about you, right? I don't think many of us want it to be just about us. We want it to be about everybody. So it's less pressure on us and it's more fun that way. So it's about your audience as well, right? And that means you have to stop sometimes. You have to stop talking. If you're speaking for 30 minutes like I am right now, at some point you have to be like, all right, let me check in with my audience, make sure they're still with me, right? That's going to help tremendously. So, okay, let's see one more here, Renee. Uh-oh, here comes Caesar. Caesar, be a good boy today, okay? I don't know if you've seen some of my lives where Caesar just like starts barking at, he has this dog right next door that he doesn't get along with. So hopefully that doesn't happen today, but he's walked away. So Renee is saying teaching is also helpful for interviews as you get comfortable speaking and interacting with people, reading whether or not they are understanding you. Okay, let's talk about that for a second, because we were talking a little bit about cues and reading your audience. Your audience, if you look at them, they will tell you how you are doing. Your audience will tell you if you're doing well. If they're smiling and like very like eyes are open and they're very drawn and they're leaning in, that means you have an engaged audience. If they're laughing and if they're raising their hands when you ask them to raise their hands, that means they're very, very engaged, right? But if your audience, like look at these cues, if your audience is like sitting down like this, like like this or like that, or, you know, you can even sometimes see if they're on their phones, like, right? That's not a very engaged audience. And what does that tell you? If your audience is not engaged, that means you're not doing your job. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but if your audience is not engaged, and the thing is now, people have such a short attention span, 2 seconds, right? You have that 2 seconds to get their attention. And if you don't, you've lost them. So if your audience is not engaged, that means you need to change things up. Look at what you're doing. Am I just doing the same thing over and over? Am I pointing at slides? Is it getting too boring? Okay, let's switch it up. Let's do something else, right? Break those patterns. Break those patterns. Because that is what's going to keep your audience interested in what you are saying. If you do the same thing all throughout, it gets boring. That means with your tonality too. This is why monotone is something that completely destroys your speech, because if I'm just speaking in that same monotone throughout the entire thing and I have no variations in my voice, it's gonna get boring, right? Whereas if I'm giving you guys different pitches, higher pitches, lower pitches, it's more interesting to listen to someone that way, okay? So I know we talked about a lot. I'm going to try to get through the rest of the messages right after. I do have to get going, you guys. I have a coaching call that I need to get ready for, but I hope you guys liked this, and I hope this really helped you understand why public speaking makes you really good at interviews. And if you are someone that's interviewing, you should really consider, okay, is public speaking one of the things that I'm afraid of? Is that why I'm not getting the jobs that I want? Is that why I'm having such a hard time doing these new interviews? And is that why I'm stagnant in my career? Because I'm just not good at public speaking. If that's what it is, then do something about it, and do something about it soon. First thing that you can do is join me on my next masterclass, where I'll be talking you through 3 steps to get promoted faster just by speaking different, right? So make sure you see me there, speakatwork.com. You can go to my profile. There is a link there as well for you to join, okay? I want to thank you guys so much again for the 100. I don't know if you guys see all my balloons. I did post a picture recently on the with the balloons, because I was honestly, you guys, I'm just so thankful for all of the support that everyone has given me here, and for all of the love and just the encouragement, because this is very rare to find, right? Finding other people that encourage you and push you and want to do better. It's very hard to find in a platform. And I'm just very lucky to have found it here on LinkedIn, and I've found you guys to help me along the journey. So again, thank you so much for the 100,000. I am so excited to see what we're going to do next in the 6 months coming, and I have lots of lives ready for you guys. I do go live 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays around 9 to 10 a.m. depending on what day it is. So I do want to bring lots of more value to you. If you have a suggestion on what you want me to talk about next, do let me know in the chat box. I do go back and watch them and listen to all of the messages that you guys have sent. So I just want to say thank you once again. Have a great weekend. And I do hope to see you on my live masterclass at speakatwork.com next Saturday. So not this Saturday, next Saturday. So hopefully I will see you there. And if not, I'm definitely going to see you on Monday on the next live. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.